right, so kick us off. What's this about? What are we covering today?
All right, Space Seed. This is the 22nd episode aired and the 22nd in production order. The director.
Oh, it is. It's both in the same production order and air.
But it took them 3/4 of the
First
season.
Yeah.
Plus the beginning of the year before September, right? All the way from March or whatever when they all start to catch up. The director is Marc Daniels, and they always say, yay, Marc Daniels back.
This makes what? You said he did 13 episodes, is that right?
14, I believe he did.
14. Oh.
Now, he does another fight sequence in this episode, and he's not the best choreographer for fight scenes because he did that in the previous episode, and it's like kind of, we see the stunt guy a little bit too much.
Both of the stunt guys, right?
Yeah.
One of them's got a headache, though, because I think his head went right into the floor. I mean, unless he's a really good stunt guy, and he kind of just made it look that way.
Yeah, and the story is by Carey Wilber.
Yeah.
And the teleplay is by Coon and Carey Wilber. And what's interesting here, I guess, the way I read it, is that Carey Wilber's name dropped off after Gene Roddenberry rewrote the whole thing in about a day. Rewrote being, throwing out lots of stuff.
Sure.
And then it flip-flopped, and then Gene Coon did a write on it, and Carey is back again. And I think Gene Roddenberry tried to get on.
He did. He couldn't. They denied him.
Oh, you know this. This is true?
Yeah.
But, I say a lot of things, and it's all, not. I just spout out all this stuff that sounds maybe tons of people that would really know, and they say, what are you talking about, Mr. Spock?
No, I read that he tried to get writing credit, and the Writers Guild said no. Sorry, Charlie. They said, you seen that tuna commercial? Sorry, Charlie. They don't even do that anymore, right? Or, I don't even know if that was around in the 60s. You have tuna? There you go.
The reason I have this is because she posed, Yeoman Rand, she posed for that early version. The air date was February 16th, 1967. I said 22. Oh my gosh.
It wasn't 22 of 22?
I read the wrong information.
Oh, man.
So here's...
I'm so disappointed. I'm so heartbroken. I'm so crushed. Give me a minute to compose myself.
Let me correct myself here. It is the 22nd episode by air date, because that's what we're doing, is by air date. Wikipedia and other places all say that this is the 24th episode by production order. The book I'm reading specifically says other places say it's 24th, and it is not. It's the 23rd. And I tend to believe the book because the research that was done on this in this book is just astounding. Link below.
And also, they shot it very quickly. I think they only took, 4 days or something to shoot this episode?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I should know that. I'll take a peek in the book. Why do you suppose Bruce likes this?
This episode?
Yeah.
Because it has superhuman beings like you are.
It's a bottle show.
Oh, that's true. It's a bottle show. Well, it wasn't Coon that didn't want to do it. Someone didn't want to do it because they said it was going to be too expensive.
Yes. Many revisions in the beginning. Expensive. Writers come in and they put all these things, lots of people in the background and way too much special effect kind of, this goes and blows up and sparkly's there, and oh my gosh, yes.
That's what happened with the Trouble with Tribbles.
Oh.
Or was it that one, or was that the one he wrote before that? I don't know. Anyway, I think it was a Trouble with Tribbles. There was way too much stuff on it.
One of these guys wrote directly, Coon or Justman, wrote the writer, Wilber, wrote him directly and said, this is wrong, you got to cut. And then he wrote kind of third person, why do we actually, you think that we are making science fiction, but yet we don't have enough money to actually show science fiction? How do we do it? And he said something like, we do it all with, by lying and magic. And can't really afford a science fiction show. It's supposed to be one, but really we're just telling some good stories. Yeah, this is a good first season story. This is why we like Trek.
It is. It was voted one of the best Star Trek episodes by someone. I mean, some of these organizations that pop up, it's kind of like saying voted best by Bruce and Kevin in 2021.
Like that means something.
Exactly, right?
So tell me what this episode is about.
This episode is about a seed and it's floating through space.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Jack and the Beanstalk. And so they find that Dr. McCoy wants to dissect the seed, but Captain Kirk says, no, we might want to plant the seed and see what happens. Well, of course, Spock gets crazy logical and he goes, Captain, do you know what you're talking about? Planting a seed in a spaceship in space? I mean, what if this thing grows out of control? And Captain Kirk, of course, in his wisdom, he gets Scotty over there because Scotty, this is one of his major episodes, right? This is one of his first major because he started getting good fan mail on this one. Don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
And he goes, look, if a contingency measure is if it starts growing out of control, the seed, we can just beam it out into space. And of course, some people had trouble with that because, you know, the people that want to take care of plants and animals, they don't want to see a plant floating out in space. So this is all about how they resolve the conflict of a seed.
Trouble and tribbles. Yeah, all that. Mm-hmm.
No, actually, they come along this thing and they see something in space now, which is an anomaly because they're in space with a lot of space around them, and so they see this spaceship floating, and they go up to it, and they're speculating that it's an Earthship, and of course Spock says no, that's impossible. There was very few flights that came out into this sector of space, and when it is confirmed that it is, or Captain Kirk tells Shatner, well, there you go, it's a space, and of course Spock goes, you delight in
exactly. I fail to understand why it always gives you pleasure to see me proven wrong, an emotional or weakness of mine. So you're saying all that stuff you talked about is actually not true, and
you're saying again, I did not say that what I said at first is not true about the seed floating in space. I did not say that. But I do want to say that a seed floating in space would be harder to find than the Botany Bay, because the Botany Bay is small anyway. But can you imagine a space seed? Unless it was a huge seed. I'm thinking about a mustard seed, right? Something like that. I am saying that everything I said at first is not true. A master race that left Earth or was kind of kicked off of Earth because they tried to take over Earth in the 1990s, which we just passed through.
But I don't think that the Earth kicked them off, only figuratively speaking. They were probably being chased, or they were going to go to the brig, you know, they would try to find them. They took off. I doubt that the planet who has been ravaged by war, by these guys and everything going on, would have the money to say, let's go build a rocket, put them in there and send them off and suspend it. They took off on their own, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure of that too. Yeah, you're right. But it's powered by nuclear fusion, right? So where it was going to go, when they did cut that out of the episode I saw, they actually had a destination for the Botany Bay. And yeah, but it was cut out of the episode, so you don't see it. And so it was going to take them a long time. So they put themselves in animation, or what do they call it? It's not animation. And so suspended animation. However, a lot of critics didn't like that because they still had a heartbeat. And they're saying if their heart beat 4 times a minute, then they would have been 20 years older than when they had left. And of course, you have to have oxygen and stuff to sustain that. If you're having a heartbeat, there's a reason for it beating. They would have starved to death because the body needs food as fuel, and they didn't have food.
I don't have a problem with some people, like you just said, saying, hey, 4 beats means you're still growing and you're getting older or something. But I have a problem with, they didn't, what you just said about, well, they would have starved. No. They probably had syringes in them and they were feeding them food. We just didn't see that. After all, these are just historical documents. They had them when they brought the guy out, broke the glass, they pulled out a tube, and that was part of the struggle to make sure that they can make the transition from
like giving birth,
oxygen and food, and they had to be pulled apart. And we didn't see that in the episode. No big deal. It probably was there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's something that someone brought up, and they said, hey, they would have starved to death, a long time ago. So, but I agree with you. There's compensation for that. The heartbeat should have probably been suspended, but I do understand
could have been suspended until they boarded.
No. The doctor said there's heartbeats over there, but it can't be human because it's only 4 beats a minute. That's before they boarded the ship.
Oh yeah, you are right about that. Happened because of the proximity of the Enterprise.
There you go.
Automatic equipment, goes, okay, we've been programmed. It's actually more than the 102 years that we thought we programmed in. Therefore, the computer's artificial intelligence said, I need to wake these guys up.
So there's a problem with that too. When Kirk first says, although I thought 2 centuries was 200 years, That is correct. But when he says 200 years, that is incorrect. So there's two references in the same show.
Why do you say that? What's incorrect about it?
They said it was more than 200 years, that it had to be like 300 years. But when Captain Kirk said 2 centuries, he was correct. When he said 200 years, that was incorrect. About the time that the Botany Bay had been traveling.
The last such vessel was built centuries ago, back in the 19th. Oh, I'll need somebody familiar with late 20th century. 20th century vessel, old type atomic power. After centuries of travel, Kirk says.
That's what they said was correct. If he says 200, when he says 200 years, that's incorrect.
2 centuries, we estimate. Did I hear you say I've been sleeping for 2 centuries? Khan is not what I expected for a 20th century man.
Yeah, but that's the second time. Remember, I thought Kirk was the one that
all the century references.
First one was correct, the next one was not, according to some people.
Such vessel was built centuries ago.
Okay, so centuries, and they're saying that it would have been traveling for 300 years, given when the Enterprise met up with the Botany Bay. I guess it was 300 years later.
And you say that there is a reference to 200?
Yeah, I thought he said 200 years.
There is. Kirk says at 19 and a half minutes into the episode, you have 200 years of catching up to do. Yes,
and that's what they said is incorrect. They said it would have been about 300 years. 300 years when I guess the Enterprise, because it was 1990s when they left the Botany Bay, and I guess it's 300 years later when the Enterprise is traveling through space, not 200 years. Well, 2 centuries is still 200 years. I'm looking it up. A century is 100 years, so.
Yes.
I think, but you just said centuries. You said centuries, so I think that's what they said is correct. It's been traveling for centuries, non-specific time, right?
Kirk says 2 centuries.
At first, I think they said it's been traveling.
I see what you're saying. So you're going by the first reference. They said generically century.
Yeah, I read that. Someone said, hey, that's correct. The second one, 2 centuries or 200 years is not correct. It's not what I said. It's what some Trekkie said.
The last such vessel was built centuries ago.
So I guess that people estimate that at the time that the Enterprise caught up with the Botany Bay, it was like 300 years later, not 200.
Sure, I'll buy that because Enterprise, Star Trek time, right?
Is that later? Because you're right. I don't think I heard it in this one. Noonien Singh, I believe his name turned out to be, but they wake Khan up. Yes. And Khan turns out to be this... because he was bred to be a warrior, so he is a warrior. So I do love the McCoy Khan scene, just below cut the carotid artery. I just love that he's, you have your hands around your doctor's neck. I just love that scene. It's really pretty classic. That was well written and done. Well done. When Khan was in suspended animation. They bring him out when they go visit the ship after they find the Botany Bay. They bring him out. They bring him back to the Enterprise. They do not want to wake anybody else up because they don't know who these people are or why they're in suspended animation. Ensign Marla, she's like this historian on the ship. So Captain Kirk's, well, why did his activate? And she goes, well, you normally activate the superior of a ship so they can evaluate what's happening. Is it really time to get up and wake the crew, or do they need to go back into suspended animation again and wait some time? So Khan's thing is just to evaluate, which he actually does very well because they take him back to the Enterprise. He's superior intellect, which he doesn't have trouble telling anyone he's superior strength and intellect and anything else you tell him. He gets into the stuff, but he also dominates ensign or lieutenant, because there's also controversy about that. She's really an ensign, but they call her lieutenant. So
really?
Yeah. So she's an ensign, but they call her lieutenant. So they another one that they mess up on her rank. And anyway, but here's your trivia. You ready for the trivia?
Yeah.
Did you know that Ricardo Montalbán and Madeleine Roux, who is Khan and Marla, worked together in 3 or 4 other different episodes? They worked together. Well, I think that that was way before Fantasy Island, but they worked together on Fantasy Island. They worked together on Bonanza. I guess those all came later, didn't they? And she played his wife on some episode. Those were after Enterprise, weren't they? But anyway, they were in 3 or 4 different things. She played his wife in one series of something. So I thought that was very interesting. Because in this one, if they knew each other before this episode, I did not know. As two actors working together, it did not look to me like they had worked together before.
Gotcha.
So they did a really good job on their acting in this one. I don't understand the domination scenes where he dominates her, and that's pretty harsh. I mean, that I'm not sure that's showing who's a superior being by dominating a woman, but maybe it's because I live in this era and not in that era.
Some of that was written as that he threw her to the ground, and that was rewritten.
Well, he kind of did. He was crushing her hand, and she went down on her knees. And
yes, it was written. There were other previous versions written where he throws her to the ground.
Oh, so they tried to tone it down a bit.
It was changed. Yeah.
Okay.
What was the comment you made about her being a lieutenant and not a lieutenant?
An ensign. She's supposed to be an ensign, I guess, and they call her lieutenant.
Oh, I see. They call her that, but she's supposed to be. Oh, based on
her rank. Yeah, but on some of the stuff she doesn't have piping, so it's hard to tell what rank she is.
Yeah, she is wearing a dress.
So anyway, that was a mistake. So he dominates her. So Khan wants to take over the ship. He conspires with her to go back to the Botany Bay, because the Botany Bay is a floating piece of trash. It's like a little tin can that they can't use, or it has no useful purpose. Which, honestly, if I woke up 200 or 300 years from now, I would want to take whatever is 200 or 300 years in the future from now, wouldn't you? I mean, you're just going, this sucks. You would want to kind of get rid of your old car and get a new car, wouldn't you? Or a new transportation mode, or a new drone, whatever it is,
Hey, he's seeing warp drive. He wants that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's trying to get somewhere. I mean, they did have a goal in mind when they left Earth, so that makes sense.
You mentioned serves no useful purpose. I don't know. You said something similar to
probably the Botany Bay right now. It's useless. It's like a floating tin can that
the ultimate computer. Dunsel, Doctor, is a term used by midshipmen at Starfleet Academy. It refers to a part which serves no useful purpose.
No useful purpose. There you go. So they're actually successful, right? And let's go. So we're halfway through the episode right there on just me explaining the episode. So let's look at what Bruce has to say about all of this stuff.
What a marvelous episode. I have nothing to say. I'm done here.
It rated number 1. You know what? I had to look this up, because if you look at the interaction between Khan and Kirk, Captain Kirk and Captain Khan, the cool thing is Kirk and Khan are looking eye to eye on their first interactions, and I go, I don't think Kirk is as tall as Montalbán, or William Shatner is as tall, and he's not. He's a couple inches shorter, but not by much. I mean, if William Shatner really is 5'10", they're saying Montalbán is 6 feet, so it's only a few inches, but. There is one, though, where they have William Shatner standing lower than him. So I don't know if it's by choice but I love the interaction. It's like the face-off of the captains. And I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I thought that was really cool that you have the two, just facing off on each other. And I just thought that was a really cool moment to catch, or to write and then film for that. I thought that was great.
Kirk says that he then had enough information. What was that line where he says, I got everything I needed? Something to that effect.
Oh, yeah.
What?
This guy that was a leader, he fell asleep for about 300 years. He's in suspended animation. He comes out of it. He's still in the war that he was in when he left Earth. He finds some superior technology. He wants to take it over. He's still dominating people. He's still dominating women. So he gets this woman to collaborate with him. He goes back to the Botany Bay, wakes up the crew, brings them back to the Enterprise. They're attempting to take over the Enterprise, but damn well, as a Trek fan,
yes,
it ain't gonna happen, baby. It ain't gonna happen.
Well, it does. Kirk goes and gets into the chamber there.
Well, he does. I mean, what they do, they cut off the oxygen. Which I'm surprised always at how little oxygen is in a really large space. I mean, unless they collapse the time. As you say, it's a historical document. So I'm like, that had to take hours for them to run out of air. Unless Khan could suck the air out somehow, or, but it didn't sound like there was that technology to actually,
well, wait a sec here.
Vacuum.
That chamber was designed to be
No. I'm talking about on the bridge where they all fall asleep on the bridge.
Oh, sorry.
Prior to the metabolic chamber. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There it's like, okay, so they have pumps to do this, or they can seal the thing. They don't have a portal right open to space or anything. How did they? Yeah,
that one, I'm like, maybe they could have done some better directing or editing to make the time lapse seem longer. I do like that, the two heroes of Star Trek, Captain Kirk and Spock, are the only two that are kind of like on their last breaths. And I don't think that they show which one fell down first. I know William Shatner falls down, but they don't really show if if Leonard Nimoy. And I think William Shatner was going, I'm not falling down before Leonard does.
Well, so of course not. He's the captain. Even more strength, more stamina, needs less air, lives on Vulcan. Still, he goes down first.
The woman helps him take the ship back, and then they put him on a little space colony and get ready for Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Very well done. Whether or not I think this is number one, I don't. But there is a group that think this is the number one episode. The Wrath of Khan. Yeah, so I did like everything about it. I didn't like that he was dominating on the women's side, but I guess I don't know why that got into it. I think they could have done that another way, where he was, I don't know why he had to be so harsh with her. I don't know what they were trying to say with that. And what I look for in story really is what the author's trying to say, right? What the writer's trying to say. Now, I know making a movie or making a TV episode of stuff, you have so many people with so much input. And if Gene Roddenberry, like you said, did rewrite it in one day or something, he might have changed the essence of the whole thing. Alpha male. But even an alpha male
with massive amounts of physical power and lots of intelligence makes you evil.
Evil.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So he's a superman.
But honestly, he wasn't really any of the things that he said he was, because if you look at when William Shatner or Captain Kirk's kicking his ass in the engineering room, right? First of all, if he can't pull out one of those things before Captain Kirk decides to pull out one of those rods, whatever those things are, then there's something kind of wrong there, right? I'm 4 times stronger, I'm 20 times smarter than you, whatever he's going on about, and he can't think to pull a rod before Captain Kirk does.
No, Kirk's got the jump on him. It's his own engineering room, not Khan's engineering room. Khan doesn't know what fluorescent tubes are that are sticking in those rods.
You're right. He did read all the engineering. He got the other stuff down. He did all the contingencies on how to make them where they couldn't communicate, they couldn't do this or that.
Yeah.
So that was more of what he was focused on. So, and then what did you think about the decision whether or not to court-martial? Because he said, he didn't really say on Khan all the charges had been dismissed. He said all charges had been dismissed. I was assuming that it was for her and him. And then he kind of brings it back to her that he's going to court-martial her anyway. So at the end of the episode. Look at where he says all charges have been dismissed or whatever. Because I was assuming that it was for everybody, not just Khan.
I declare all charges and specifications in this matter have been dropped. Let's see.
Yeah.
Before or after, under the authority vested in me as Starfleet Command. This hearing is now in session. Okay, and so afterwards.
Yeah, he says that all matters have been dropped. And then he's like going to hold a little sledgehammer over her head. It doesn't make sense when you drop it all and you go, but we're still gonna court-martial it.
Amazing. 939 records. And what happens to the sort by time? I find all the records. I say, I don't need them all. I find the one with the word charge on it. Then I say, show me all of the records in front of and behind that.
But then he pulls one out of his butt and he says, well, but you, I'm going to hold accountable. It doesn't make any sense to me. Again, no wonder women feel battered and put down and angry at men, because at this one, I would be kind of pissed off. First of all, you drop all the charges, but then you're going to hold me accountable, which she should have been. She is a member of the crew, but he said, with the exception of lieutenant or ensign, whatever, MacGyver, he should have said that, but he did not. He said all charges and specifications in this matter have been dropped. Mm-hmm. And they all agree with him. Spock does it. You want us to remain on the ship, or instead of like holding a hammer over her head and say, do you want to go down with this jackass that just tried to take over the ship and we're going to, or court-martial? He should have said, do you want to remain with the ship? Or not even addressed it. Again, some things are better left unsaid, I think.
There's no way they could just say, you get a choice, stay, but everything's gone.
He should have said that then. He declared all charges and specifications. Yeah, he should have.
He said you could stay here and get busted?
No. He should have said, then he's already excluding her, right?
Oh.
But that's like coming back and saying, but, it's wishy-washy. If he would have said that up front, it would have made sense. And then instead of like, well, we'll throw you out on this planet. I could see why women saying you got to go in the kitchen and wash dishes, that's your place, would really piss them off. I could see that women, even if Khan's saying a superior woman, I'll take her. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that is so chauvinistic. I mean, it just is really bad writing and very chauvinistic. An empire to build, a woman to win. I don't know. It's very chauvinistic, and the less said sometimes the better. And if they cut out all that other stuff that I've read that they cut out of this and all that other stuff, they could have cut this part and left some of that other stuff in. They didn't need to bash her around. It could have been, there are things where you just know something's going to happen, right? You don't have to explicitly say it. And you already know that she sided with Khan, right? So they could have left that totally open-ended. It didn't even need to be said, and he didn't need to smack her with a sledgehammer after he dropped all the charges and stuff. For just, she wanted a man to just kind of, be a... And I'll give you an example. I'm an American, and so with women, I'm very light touch. I don't really push them hard, in my dating life and stuff. If they say they want to do something, great. If they don't, great. Okay. To me, it's just not a big deal one way or the other. It's like, because things I assume in my life, things are going to happen the way they happen anyway, right? There's a trajectory that we're all on, and sure, you need to be, but in America, you don't force women to do things. It's against the law. You don't touch them if they don't want to be touched. You don't force them to do something. I did date a Brazilian, and we were talking about doing something, and she said something, and I said, okay. And she grabbed me and said, be a man. She wanted me to be machismo. I'm not machismo. And I don't like being machismo, and I really don't. I'd rather be, if two people decide to do something, then that's the way to do it. I really don't want to take a machismo standpoint. And maybe if I was Brazilian and I watched this episode, I'd say that's it, because it's more machismo. But I don't like the way they treated the woman in here. And I don't like the way that Kirk took the sledgehammer to her at the end, after all that, in a way, she'd been through in this episode. She made a bad choice. We know she made a bad choice, but she kind of did repent. When she took Kirk out of the chamber, Khan could have probably taken over the Enterprise, or he would have at least attempted, like you said, without her anyway. So that was there. So most of what was happening with Khan on the Enterprise was going to happen anyway. But I'd love to see how other people feel about this and about my comments on this. But I just don't think that they treated her fairly, or women fairly, in this episode, honestly. So I don't rate it as number one in the episodes of Star Trek.
I rate it highly because of different...
It's a bottle episode.
Music comes in. I get to see the ship inside.
You get to learn more. They have a hyperbolic chamber in there, which you didn't know before. It is a decompression chamber, medical decompression chamber.
Hyperbaric chamber.
Oh, do they call it a hyperbaric?
Not in the episode. Our hyperbaric booster package increases oxygenation by 30% before the hyperbaric session.
They don't say it in the episode though, right? Decompression chamber.
Let's see what they say. Decompression chamber. I'm sure you recognize your medical decompression chamber here, Doctor. Hint, 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 con. Engage the viewing screen. And the meaning of that indicator, your captain will die.
Yeah, but I don't understand whether they're taking the air out and he's without atmosphere there.
Sure.
It is, right? Because then they bring atmosphere back.
And you got to go do this to bring it back up again.
Yeah. You know what I did? I did that. I when I was going to Navy divers, they put me in a compression chamber and took me down to, I don't know how many feet. And I didn't really think that it really messes with your head. I don't know how many feet. I don't think I went down to 300 feet, but I went down quite a distance. It was way over 100 feet because 100 feet doesn't really affect me that much, right? So let's say they took me down to 200, maybe 250 feet. I really don't know what it was. I just remember I was freaking out because I was sitting there, and when they put me in the chamber, I was the only one in the chamber, and they're taking me down the depth, right? Whatever the depth was. Let's say it was 200 feet, 250 feet. And as they're putting me down, the guy didn't lock the chamber door. He just closed it, right? And he didn't spin that thing. And I'm like, holy shit, what if this thing opens up? But the door's open in, right? And so you're getting compressed inside this chamber. So honestly, I was freaking out, like, what if the door's open and I'm going to just be blown to bits, right? But what happened was the doors, they compress against the, as you're going down. So there's no way in heck, unless there was faulty metal, that the doors would have busted open. Man, I was, and when I was done with it, I go, holy crap, I was freaking out. I mean, I don't know if I showed it or not because they do monitor you. Yes. But it really did do a job on me. Now with him, with Captain Kirk, I believe they were taking the atmospheres away. So there was less atmosphere. So he's basically suffocating and not.
He can't
breathe
in enough oxygen to.
Yeah, he's in a vacuum. Yeah, which is the opposite of what I was. Yeah.
And then apply pressure.
And tap it.
Well, I don't think no. She wasn't. She was just clenching her fist, right? No, did I get that wrong?
Was she on the little red gauge? I don't know.
Yeah. She wasn't tapping. She was clenching her fist and going, come on. Let's see.
Well, and I was wondering about that too, because you take someone and you're in a vacuum, and then you're adding a lot of pressure real quick. I know that it does a lot of water. If you're coming up from depth, let's say you're down below 33 feet, right? You get the bends.
She's ready to push the button, and and then she pushes it. No, she's just come on.
Well, I don't know what effect that would have had on Captain Kirk's body, honestly. Going from a vacuum to pressure, because she brought him to atmosphere, right? She brought him to like 1 atmosphere in that short amount of time. So
it's the reverse of what happens when you go from deep sea diving to coming.
Yeah, so it'd be more like skydiving, which I think is okay, right? It would be okay because you're skydiving, there's no atmosphere up there, and then you're coming down to 1 atmosphere where you have oxygen and air and everything else. So I think that would have been okay. Yeah, because skydivers do that, really, but they always wear the oxygen thing. So, but he didn't have that, so yeah. So that would have worked out, yeah.
When I'm at 60,000 feet, and I'm close.
Right.
So then I put on the mask, okay?
Yeah. But I thought Kirk did a pretty good job of acting there, William Shatner, because he's climbing out of that thing and it looked damn uncomfortable. So I don't know how many times he had to shoot that scene or how long he was in that chamber. But I thought, wow, that's if you look at it, it looks very uncomfortable,
And he has to be leaning up against.
Yeah, he's leaning, and he doesn't look like he has knee pads on, so it looks like it's a hard floor.
He has to do this for half a day, right? He's not lying down like he should be. The air is going away. He should be lying as still as possible. Yeah. What about though the Botany Bay? When I was looking at the Botany Bay, what a set! I mean, there was so much room on the Botany Bay. That little thing. Have you ever been on a submarine? No.
A submarine is very cramped. It's very, very cramped. And so I was looking at the Botany Bay as compared to the Enterprise, right? The Enterprise does have quite a bit of space. Even a ship, even a United States ship, battleship, they don't have a lot of room. Everything's pretty cramped. So, but the Botany Bay, for being that little, man, there was a lot of space in there. I'm like, holy crap, this was luxury, man. They're flying in the lap of luxury on that.
Well, this ship was probably, like a cargo vessel designed for something else, and they ripped off whatever they could, and they're putting 20 people on it. I mean, this is a huge ship for how many people? 70 people? How many people on it?
Yeah, that's true. If you look at it that way, but yeah.
And those modules that are around the outside. So we got a ship that looks like a submarine, and it has those hexagonal shaped things around the bottom. Well, I'm sure when it's fully loaded, it would have an entire ring's worth. So it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. And so there would probably be 4 more to finish the circle. Enterprise has 430 crew. This has a fraction of that, and they're all sleeping. And these cargo containers, these were retrofitted cargo containers. They probably found these things that they put quadrotriticale in and carry from place to place. And they said, all right, we can put these not decompression chambers. What's the hibernation, chambers in these things. Yeah. Sure, lots of floor space to play, to bowl and play air hockey.
Yeah, anything like that. Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of room, and I'm like, holy, when they beamed down, I go, man, there's a lot of room in here. Let me tell you my pulley story, okay? Completely unrelated to Star Trek. So when I was in the Navy, they briefly, because I was in the reserves, I was an active reservist, so I used to fly down here to California. I think it might have happened in California. I'm not exactly sure what ship it was, but I was assigned to 2 ships here in San Diego, California. So I flew down, and I'm talking to all these guys. We're sitting in the lounge, right? The lounge with the TV and the chairs, just kind of relaxing. And they asked me, they said, have you ever been a pulley? And I go, a pulley? I said, no, I've never been a pulley. And so they go, oh. And of course, dude, they're like on it, right? There's like 7 or 8 guys there. Now they got something going on, and I was so stupid. I'm like, a pulley? No, I've never been a pulley. Well, there's a pole right in the middle of the lounge, right? Like a steel structural post. And they got some duct tape. They stood me up against the pole, and they just taped me with duct tape up against the pole. And they said, now you're a pulley. And they just left me. They just left. So I'm taped up in duct tape, which is it's impossible to break duct tape, and I'm all taped up. I'm a pulley up there, so I'm just standing up against this pole, and so, dude, I've been a pulley. Man,
people are so mean.
It was kind of funny. It was fun. Anyway, so the Botany Bay, I didn't see any pulleys in the Botany Bay.
They have transparent aluminum. They just need to make the walls, and it's strong. Yeah. If you're talking about wasted space, though, see, I can believe that the Botany Bay has a lot of space because it normally carries maybe grain or something, and they just put a few people in there. What I think that I would expect you to be complaining about is the Enterprise going, wow, they got all these huge corridors, they're just wasting space, right?
Well, I mean, they had a lot of space there. You're right. Yeah. I was just like surprised that there was so much. But you're right. I mean, if they retrofitted the ship and we're going to be I was expecting, like, if you're going to be putting people in animation, right, you would have more like the Matrix, like a whole bunch stacked on top of each other and really close together and not so spread apart. But on this one, no, it was very livable. Although for being out in space 200 to 300 years, I would have been a little pile of dust on the floor.
4 beats per minute, buddy.
Oh, no. But I would have been trying to play around in that, the big old space and having my hockey games or, just shooting hoops in there or whatever. And after a while getting bored and saying, man, I want to, what was that movie where he took the woman out of, she was in stasis too, and he took her out because he was so lonely. Remember that movie? And she got really angry at him.
Passengers?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. So he took her out of suspended animation, and he said, hey, and then she gets mad at him because she finds out.
But that's what I would have done. It's the wrong passengers.
pulled a couple of those women out of there for sure to play around with. Although that one actress, I don't know who she was. I'd like to find out. She really, for her very short amount of time on film, she really plays to the camera. Like she's standing in front when Khan's walking and kind of checking out his crew, and she's stretching out and stuff. And but she's facing the camera the whole time. She doesn't really turn like to look at him or anything. She has her whole face time in the camera. So yes. I thought, yeah, she got her screen time there.
That sequence when they are getting out and that's all in skimpy uniform, skimpy clothes.
Yes.
And totally cut down. Broadcast standards lady this time I read said no, chop all that up. You can't be showing all that.
Well, I mean, there's a small crew. You gotta populate wherever you're gonna go things. So you put women and men, right? 30 men. I think it was 74, right? But there was 30 women, so that means 44 men. So you'd have a few bar fights there. I'm going home with her. No, you're not. I am. She's my woman. No, she's mine.
Didn't McCoy say that how many chambers were still working?
Yeah, 74.
What were those things called?
Stasis chambers.
No.
30 of those are women. There you go. 72 still operating. So 42 men, 30 women. So that meant there was 84 chambers. Anyway, good episode. I didn't like the way they treated Ensign McGivey, but Marla McGivers.
Jones.
Yes.
Can I tell you that the next episode is A Taste of Armageddon? Yes, you love that one.
That's the one where they're beamed down and when they have the pink goats, right?
No, that's not that's after the one you want. See, A Taste of Armageddon, This Side of Paradise, The Devil in the Dark, you like that one.
Yeah.
But you're waiting for Errand of Mercy, aren't you? Green Goat.
Errand of Mercy. There you go. We should do it. We should do a table read. This would be so fun.
It's like we're learning to read again.
It really is, right?
I mean, we're like a bunch of total ridiculous reading people when we're doing this. Same here. It's like I'm trying to learn to read. It's incredibly difficult, even though those are English words right there. This episode is serious, classic. I don't rate it as high as the rest of the world, which probably puts it in the, top 10 or top 20, it's up there. It's a fine episode. 90 or under 90, easily 89. It's a good solid yes.
89? I think for the reasons that I rated it, I'm gonna go lower. I'll go for a 67.
Oh yeah, no way. This is way over 70, and so it's in the 80s, and it's in the
No, I'm not saying it for you. I'm saying that's my rating.
Oh, yeah, you say 67?
Yeah.
Well, and she likes history. I mean, she's got the right job for what her interests are. And here comes a man who is bigger than life.
We go, well, we're just going to take off and go, and we'll sort it out later. And
sort it out.
The rapper episode, the two-parter that we did, they also just steal the ship. Two-parter.
And Menagerie.
The Menagerie, they steal the ship. I mean, they do way worse things than she does. At least they just try to steal the ship with her. On those ones, they actually do steal the Enterprise. She did. She got Captain Kirk out of there. She gave the guy the hypo needle or the hypo spray, put him to sleep.
Joachim, his second in command or whatever, smack Uhura? Or was that?
Yeah, a couple times. Well, he did smack her once, and then he was going to smack her again.
Yeah.
And then the woman stepped up, Marla, and said, "Hey, don't smack her again."
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this one. We did good on this one.
No, we didn't. It was totally disorganized, and
it wasn't that
primarily bad. Because I did not do any research. I mean, I didn't put.
I was surprised not to see more pictures and more notes on it.
Now, this is why I am a above sea level, a C student, a B student.
All right. Well, we're good. I think we did good. I think I want to arrange a table read.
You figure out all the people that are in it, right? and then divvy them up and say, everybody take what they want or vote for what want, and then we go see where the problem is. Not everybody can be Kirk. And
not everyone can be Kirk. Does everyone want to be Kirk? I don't want to be Kirk.
Look, I don't want to be Kirk, but here's the deal. If it's William Shatner's world, we just live in it. And if you can be anybody you want to be the best person you can be. But if you can't be Captain Kirk, then that's what you pick.
You know, I'm going to be Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, and Scotty.
I told
you guys can have the rest.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's wrap it. We did good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks for rating another episode. It was fun. Oh, I might want to tell you what episode we're doing.
Yeah, let's do it. Tell us what we see next time.
Okay, episode list. This was Space Heat. I think we discussed this. A Taste of Armageddon with Joseph Pevney. Should be interesting.
I don't know why I never know what that's about.
Kirk versus computers. The computers fight the war.
Oh, right. I always think it's the pink goats.
They're green, and that's Errand of Mercy. And I don't even know if that episode called A Taste of Armageddon is really...
Is Errand of Mercy this season? I hope it is.
It is. It's right after. It's 3 episodes after that. Cool. You're getting the green goats this season. Absolutely.
I love that one. I actually don't know why, but I ran across that actor again, and I go, oh, he's a big actor, even though he can't get his timing quite right.
Wait. Oh, that actor. I got you. Not Core. This is Core, not the Klingon, but the guy the Organian who brings him into the compound.
Yes. He's waiting and he's kind of saying, hurry up with your line already. You know, it's amazing. I think it's cool.
But even without that, you like the episode, right? It's not
I like it.
You're not making fun of all of the episode, just that little, the sinking.
I'm not even making fun of that. I think it's cool as hell. I think he does a very good job of that. And I just, amok time, when Captain Kirk's coming up, you said it's not the whatever two, but he just comes up. The whole episode, watch amok time. I'm going to tell you what to watch for in amok time. They tried it. The director tries to keep Captain Kirk moving all the time. Even when he's sitting down, he's at the computer typing, right, or whatever he's doing, and someone comes in, Bones comes in, and he's out of there, right? He does not want to sit with anybody at any time in that episode, and it cracks me up. He's in motion the whole episode, and I think it's funny as hell.
That's interesting.
So you'll see it. The motion there for William Shatner's character, Captain Kirk, is just constantly in motion.
Movement. That was. Okay. Let's see who the director was. So we're talking about Amok Time.
Amok Time, yeah.
And that is not the first season. That's the first episode of the second season. And guess who it is? It's Joseph Pevney. So when we watch A Devil in the Dark, you like that episode because his father died.
I'm assuming it's because his father died and he brought that extra emotion in there.
Oomph to it. But it's also...
And now the trivia for it's fantastic, like having to shoot around William Shatner's character until he came back from the funeral. It's a special episode all the way around, I think. All right, boss. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
Yeah, loved it. That was great.
Yeah, me too. Tomorrow is yesterday.
You are awesomely funny.
Hey, some lady told me that today.
She did?
I said I apologize for... She goes, no, I think you're cute. She was just on the phone, this tech that I was talking to today. Yeah. And she was really nice. She was really sweet. I said, oh, you're very nice. I said,
it's like,
were you the one who told me when I'm joking with you to do this?
I don't know. Maybe we talked about it. No, you're joking 100% of the time, so it's very easy. You don't need to
treat me right. Okay, so
making a joke.
I'll check him later. Yeah. There he goes again. It looks like a box that's open from Home Depot.
And
The web is for children.
Why are you doing that? The guy's don't charge him. Why are you charging me airtime?
Why does my life go like this? Okie dokie. All right, you're there still, Bruce? Sorry about this, man. Okay.
One man would have ruled eventually.
The
You
Wrath
should
of Khan?
be smiling.
I should be smiling. I should be making those jokes that are zing. That's our first little
Alarm sounds. Wah,
Yeah.
wah. Door opens and door closes. And just teaser.
I got the brains of 40 people and I got the strength of 4 men.
I have 5 times your strength.
What's that? They call me Mustang, 180 horsepower.
Wardrobe change.
Wardrobe.
Olympian leather.
Over here, and he did it all in a matter of days, so it was really good.
Where is Bruce and what have you done with him? And
Yeah,
I'm saying, why am I in this basket and where the hell are we going? I mean,